Hi, good morning everyone. Welcome back to Quarantine Chemistry. And now, like last week, I'm going to give us a couple minutes and I'm going to let people join because it's kind of hard to find the video. And once people join, I'll give you a little tip about how to see the projects while I'm doing them, okay? So today we are going to do an Eggsplosion. We're going to do a volcano. That was a request last week. So remember, if you want to make a request, you just have to let me know. Just leave it in the comments below, okay? We're going to do a jelly bean rainbow, and we're going to make some blooming flowers. So they're going to be really fun projects. Like I said, I'm just giving us a few minutes for people to join us. That way we can all watch this together. And again, if you do any of these projects, please take a picture and post it on our Washington Carnegie Facebook page or tag our Washington Carnegie page. That way we can see what you're doing. I'm always so excited to see the projects that you guys do. And it's always so much fun to see what you guys are doing. So we're just giving this a couple minutes. I'll introduce myself again for people who are joining who might not know me. My name is Cailey Moreland, and I work at Washington Carnegie Public Library. I'm the STEM coordinator, and I do fun STEM projects with kids. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. Good morning, Teresa. Good morning, Amanda. And right now we're working on some science projects. My background is in chemistry and biology, and so those are just the projects that I'm super comfortable with. And we're just doing projects based on things that we have at home. So while you're isolating away from other people, hopefully you have some of these items and you can do these projects as well, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started, and don't worry if you join late. You can always go back and watch this video. It'll be on the Washington Carnegie Public Library Facebook page, and you can rewatch this. Now, I did have a question about the comments. If they're in the way while you're watching the video and you can't see the experiment, all you have to do is swipe them to the right, and that'll move the comments out of the way, and then hopefully you can see the video a little bit more. I will be flipping a little bit, so you'll see me part of the time and you'll see my experiments part of the time, and I might take you off of the stand and move you around a little bit too as well, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Our first one is going to be an Eggsplosion. So this is kind of for Easter, and hopefully you've got some Easter eggs laying around. And if you do, then you can do this project with some water and some antacids. So those are little tablets. I'll pull one out. Sorry guys, we're getting a close-up view. I've just got these. So you can use off-brand. A lot of the off-brand stuff has the same ingredients in it, so we're just worried about the chemicals in here. This is sodium bicarbonate. And basically what this is going to do is react with our water, make it super fizzy. It's going to be super fun. And we're just turning it a little Easter today. So I'm going to flip you around. And again, if you can't see in front of you with the comments, just swipe those over to the right, okay? So I've got my Easter carton filled with eggs, and I've got my tablets already in there. And all I'm going to do is take some regular water. I just got it in my beaker. And I'm going to pour it over the eggs. Can you hear that reaction? Hopefully you can see it. I'll lift you up and we'll go around. This is going to kind of be a back and forth Facebook Live today, so just a heads up. So see how they're reacting and they're bubbling? The sodium bicarbonate really likes the water molecules, and it's meant to dissolve when you take them. So people take them for heartburn, antacid. They take antacids for heartburn, and so they want that bubbly relief in their stomach. So that's what they do when they're in your stomach. And you can add more water to these, you can add more tablets to these, and they'll just keep reacting, okay? So that's our first project. I'm gonna put you back on my stand. Sorry about the back and forth. And I'm gonna move this out of the way because I've got some big stuff today. And you're looking at part of my stand. There you go. Okay, our second one is a request from last week. I'll flip you back around. And this is for a volcano. So if you guys have ever done a volcano science project, it's kind of like the quintessential science fair project, and that's what we're doing today. So in front of me, flipping you back around, we have got our volcano. I'm gonna move my tray back here a little bit. Like I said, I've got some big stuff today. So my volcano I made with some salt dough, and I'll leave that recipe in the bottom. I'm gonna flip you back around. But it's just a 3:1:1:1 ratio. So you want 3 cups of flour, 1 cup of salt, 1 cup of water, and a tablespoon of oil. And that's just gonna make a really nice dough to go on the outside. You can also use tin foil, you can use Play-Doh, you can go outside in the dirt if you want to, and make a dirt mound and then put your ingredients inside of there. That's completely up to you. Just use whatever you have around the house. Like I said, during this time of isolation, we just want to use whatever we had. I made some salt dough because of the Facebook Live. I probably would typically use foil for it just because it's a little easier, easy cleanup. So our reaction is basically going to show us what happens with a volcano after years of heat and pressure have built up underground. So we're not going to see what's on the inside of the volcano as all that heat and pressure builds up, but we're going to watch the physical change that happens on the outside when all of the lava overflows on the outside. So what you need for this one is any sort of covering for your container. So covering, container, a little bit of dish soap, about a cup of vinegar, and some baking soda, okay? So this one's really cool. I'm going to show you guys. I'll flip you around. So I've already got my vinegar, my dish soap, and I've got some food coloring in here. And I'm just going to take about a half a teaspoon of baking soda and add it in. I'm going to add some more because we want our reaction to really get going. And if you need to give it a couple shakes, that's absolutely fine. And let everything sort of react. My salt dough is making it stick to the bottom, but I can see it starting to come up. So it takes a little bit, it's going to react. And there's our volcano. It looks pretty cool, right? So that's like how the lava would flow down the side. And that is your chemical reaction from the vinegar and the baking soda and a little bit of the dish soap just to break the surface tension of the vinegar. And it's causing a physical reaction. So the chemical reaction is what's happening down here in the volcano, and then we get to see the really nice chemical reaction from it. Isn't that cool? And that'll just keep reacting, and you can add more vinegar, and you can add more baking soda to that, and you can keep reusing this. And it's just going to keep going. I'm trying to get some angles for you. All right. Okay, let's go back on the stand. This is what working from home is, guys. Going back and forth. All right. So that's our volcano. So remember, it's a chemical reaction between the vinegar and the baking soda. And we talked about that last week. Causing a physical reaction in the form of the foam that overflows it, okay? And you can add any sort of food coloring to it. You could put anything on the outside. Again, whatever you have around the house. No big deal. Don't stress out about these projects, okay, guys? It's just fun stuff to do while you're isolated away from people. Our third one is going to be a jelly bean rainbow. So hopefully you've got some jelly beans laying around for Easter. If you don't, you can also use M&Ms or Skittles or anything that kind of has that sugary, colorful coating on the outside. That's really what we're looking for. I'm using jelly beans just because of Easter, just for a little bit of fun. And we've got some plates, we've got our ring of jelly beans, I'll show you in 1 second. We've got some water and we've got some vinegar. So that's what you're going to need for this experiment. Flip you around, and I'm gonna move my volcano out of the way, but this will keep reacting for quite a while. Okay, so this plate right here, this is what working from home is, guys. Going back and forth. All right, is my water, and this one is my vinegar. So what we're going to look into with this is solubility. And what solubility means, we talked about this a little bit last week, is the ability of something to dissolve within a liquid. So we're going to see how our jelly beans dissolve in our two different liquids, and I'll probably have to take you off the stand again to show you what's going on. So we're going to take our water, and we're just going to pour it on the side. We don't want our jelly beans really to move that much. I need one of those head cameras so you guys can see what I'm seeing from the top. So we're just going to put a thin layer on there, and we're going to put a thin layer of our vinegar as well. Just let that go across the plate. All right. Now I'm going to take you off the stand, and we're going to come look at this. Now it doesn't look like a lot is happening, but you can kind of see on that red one, see how it's starting to dissolve? Put some more vinegar over here because all of our jelly beans did not get covered. There we go. All right, so as you can see on this one, you're kind of getting the reflection of the colors over here. And I did use warm water for this just because I wanted it to react a little bit faster. This one is a little bit slower of a reaction than some of our other ones like our Volcano. But it's really cool to watch them dissolve in this water. And once it's done, it's going to make a really cool rainbow. So as you can see right there, hopefully you can see it. Maybe we'll put some, there we go, put some light on it. It's starting to rainbow right there. And our vinegar is just doing a little bit. It's not doing a lot. But our water is really starting to react. Now this happens, our water is more reactive than our vinegar because the sugar actually prefers the water molecules. And what the water does is it goes in between the bonds of the water molecules and it kind of breaks them apart. So it kind of wedges its way into in between the sugar molecules, and it makes it break up. And then with our dye on here, it's also taking our dye off. So we'll let that keep working for a little bit. And our vinegar, it doesn't like the vinegar as much. And this is all about breaking bonds. So what the water does is really break apart those bonds because it's an H2O. And the hydrogen molecules, the sugar really wants those hydrogen molecules. So it kind of sacrifices itself and lets itself be taken apart so that it can have those hydrogen molecules. Because that's kind of in the chemistry world like the big thing. Carbon molecules and hydrogen molecules are really big, and most of the elements really want those when they want to bond with something. So hydrogen bonding and carbon bonding are huge things in the chemistry world. See how we're getting a nice rainbow there? It just takes a little time, and you can see our vinegar is really slow. So can you tell from this reaction how much more the sugar likes the water molecules than it likes the vinegar? Okay, we're gonna flip you back around and set you down. Okay, so like I said, the sugar coating gets broken apart by the water because it really wants those hydrogens, and the vinegar can't quite do that. Because it's too closely bonded together. It's kind of complete in its structure, whereas water is kind of like, hey, I'll give you a hydrogen, you can have it, as long as you let me squeeze my way in there and break you apart. So that's what it does. So those are a couple Easter projects, and this next one's more of like a springy project, and we're going to make some blooming flowers. Now remember with our egg last week, we talked about osmosis, and so osmosis is when you have liquid on one side and you've got the other side, the water wants to even out, it wants to balance. So remember in our egg got filled up with the vinegar, and then there was still vinegar on the outside, but it made our egg swollen, if you remember that, if you watched the video. Remember, you can always watch our videos from last week on our Facebook page if you want to look into any of this and do any of the past projects. And so the movement of the water across the membrane, it caused the egg to swell. So if you can kind of guess what's going to happen with this one, with our paper, then you've got an idea. You're a good scientist if you can guess it. Okay, so I'm going to give you one last shot of this water one. It looks so cool. And our vinegar is really starting to react now, but definitely much more slowly. It's slowly eating that away. And this sugar one has definitely got it. Okay, so what I've got back here is just a pan of shallow water. I'm sorry about all the back and forth today. I hope it's not making you sick. So this is just a pan and it's got shallow water in it. And what we're going to do is use some paper flowers. You can see them right here. And we're going to lay them on the water and we're going to watch osmosis happen. So we watched osmosis happen with the egg last week, and this is kind of just a different forum for it to work. So I'm going to lay it on here. We're just going to lay them on our water, and we're going to let them work. All right, so you see I've got the petals folded on the flower, and you just want to watch and see what's going to happen once the osmosis starts. So we've got water on one side of the membrane, and the other side is just our paper. Now I'm going to let that work, and I'm going to talk to you about the science behind it real quick. Ooh, that lighting is not good. Sorry, guys. So paper is made from trees. It's made from trees. It's ground into pulp, and then when you resaturate it, it's kind of like when you put a wilted flower back in water and it kind of reblooms. That's basically what we're doing. So we're rehydrating our tree pulp. We're using osmosis for it, and we're making it really rebloom, okay? And I'm trying to let them work because I've got a secret message for you guys in here. All right, so they're really starting to open up. And my little one right here doesn't really want to. Some flowers bloom slower than others. And I've got my message in here. So like I said, we're rehydrating this tree pulp. We're using osmosis. And can you see my message? There it is. So we started with our closed up blooms. And the paper rehydrated. And it expanded. It made the paper swell, just like our eggs was swollen last week. And it gives us these beautiful flowers. And it says, thanks for joining me. All right. I'm going to flip you back around, try to find my light again. Okay, guys. So these are our 4 projects. I wanted to give you a couple Easter projects, a spring project, and then our volcano. So if you have any project requests, if there's anything you want to see, let me know in the comments below. And again, if you're rewatching this, all you have to do to get rid of the comments if you can't see my projects is just swipe them over to the right. So swipe them over. And I'm so glad that you guys could join us. I have so much fun doing these projects, and I hope you enjoy them as well. And I'll see you next week for more quarantine chemistry. Have a nice week, guys. Have a happy Easter.